Alright guys, here are your next two sets of proofs. Again, they're not too long, although your bottom one's a little bit 5 steps, but that's not too bad. These proofs are going to be dealing with side, angle, side. So again, just like in the side proofs, make sure you mark stuff up in your pictures. Keep an eye on this because this is telling you who matches up with who. Very, very important. We already know that this thing's going to end in side, angle, side. So will your bottom ones, side, angle, side. That's your checklist. So make sure that whatever you have up in here, you have your two sides checked off and your angle checked off. Make sure that that angle is included. So go ahead, pause your video and try these proofs right now. Remember, your first step is always your given, and then you provide me the rest of the information. Okay, use your picture to your advantage. All right, so here we've got a couple things, and I think I messed up on this proof. I think this should be a 4-stepper proof. So we'll end right there. But let's go through and check it. I'm pretty sure it's 4 steps, not 3. My bad. Sorry. So we got angle QPS is bisected by segment PR. And then we got PQ, segment PQ, congruent to segment PS. Okay, all that is given. Okay, so segment PQ and segment PS. There, that's marked. Yeah, this has to be a 4-step proof. Because this one, the reason I'm highlighting this one is all about that angle bisector. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about that angle bisector. So this angle QPS is bisected by this segment right there. So that means that if something is bisected, very much like a midpoint, it's just cut into 2 congruent segments. Or 2 congruent angles, I should say, in this case. So we know that these angles have to be congruent because this angle is being bisected. So all we gotta do is just write down those angles. And I need to use 3 points because there's lots of angle P's here. There's like 3. So my top angle is angle QPS, or excuse me, QPR. Then all I gotta do is match it up down below. Here, look at this. QPR matches up with SPR. So I already got my angle written for me right up there. I just gotta make sure that I write it as my angle. Okay, so we know that they are congruent. And where's this information coming from? That's right, because the definition of an angle bisector. Now, I make my kids write out angle bisector because it's important so that they know that this thing over here should be an angle. The book will, and your guys' homework and your test and sometimes your quizzes, they'll just say definition of bisector. And again, if you go and look at my list of reasons that I made for you guys, I put that as a reason that you can use. Either one is correct. I think this is a little bit better because it also goes with what you're writing right there and make sure that you're keeping that with an angle. If you talk about an angle bisector, then it has to be an angle bisector, and then it has to be angles over here. So we're almost done. We almost got our side angle. See, there's our side. We've got our angle. We need one more side, and it's this guy right there. This is why I messed up. This has to be a 4-step because I need this last side. It's right here. So segment PR is congruent to segment PR because of reflexive. That's right. They love to use reflexive in these pictures and things like that. So keep an eye out for that reflexive guy. And so now if you look at this, we've got our side, we got our angle, we got our side. So our triangles have to be congruent because of side, angle, side. Triangle QPR congruent to triangle SPR. And there it is. It's good to go. And again, we got our checklist. Side, angle, side. Checklist. Side, angle, side. Good to go. All right, down below here. Okay. So let's write out our given. We know that segment TM bisects segment AB, and that's kind of why I'm throwing this one in there. And I'm also throwing it in because of these right angles. Okay, we also know that angle 1 and angle 2 are right angles, and all that is given to us. Okay, so there's nothing I can really mark in my picture. I mean, I guess if you want to put these pictures in there, it really, that means that this is perpendicular, but it also kind of pulls double duty that it stands for right angle. But most of the time, how I treat this is that this means perpendicular, just so you know. As far as bisecting, we can't put that in there. So again, we're going to end with side, angle, side. Okay, so I need two sides congruent and an angle that's included. Well, if you look at your picture, one thing that should hopefully be obvious right away, you got reflexive. Segment TM, congruent to, well, let's match up. M and M match up, T and T match up. So again, that's going to be another TM segment. That's reflexive. Okay, now we've got to use our given here. Well, let's talk about a bisector. So TM is coming down and hitting this segment right there and cut it in half. Or in other words, cut it into two congruent parts. It's just like the angle bisector that we talked about it here. That's why I put these both on the same page. The bisector of a segment, bisector of an angle, because all it does is come down here and create two congruent segments. So we now know that AM, segment AM, and let's match that up. A with B, M with M. So matches up with segment BM because of the definition of a segment bisector. And again, I make my students write out the word segment because I'm it matches with what I should be writing. Okay, if I was talking about an angle bisector, if I said definition of angle bisector and then I put that down, I know that doesn't match. Okay, or vice versa. If I have angles written here and I said segment bisector, that's weird. That doesn't happen. Again, your book, your guys' homework and quiz and test, they'll just say definition of bisector. Okay, I think this is much better, but that's neither here nor there. You can use either one. So notice we're almost done. Okay, I've got my two sides, but some people would automatically jump into this guy being congruent because of side angle side. If you look at your picture, it looks like you kind of got that. But remember, that does not mean congruency. And if I look at my checklist here, I only have two sides congruent. I need my angles to be congruent. I need angle 1 and angle 2 to be congruent. And I can actually say that now. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. But the reason is because these are right angles. And we have a theorem called the right angle congruence theorem. And the right angle congruence theorem means that all right angles, these are right angles, all right angles are congruent. That's the right angle congruence theorem in a nutshell. If you have right angles, then they are congruent. Right angle congruence theorem. And again, that's in your list out there that I provided for you. So now you can see that, oh, we really do have congruent angles. Okay, I just had to state those. And if I look at my picture, oh, look, this angle is included. Here are my two sides. So yes, my triangles are congruent because of side, angle, side. Triangle AMT congruent to triangle BMT, side, angle, side. My checklist is done.